we do have the good luck and have funs going down, so this will be the first match of the tournament. So let's see how the first match comes out. Ha actually winning all three warm-ups right there, so Ha getting the momentum that he actually most likely wants in this match to go ahead and try to get the defeat on Blink. Meanwhile, Blink, can he make a comeback? He did lose the first three warm-up matches, but of course those are warm-up matches, and of course he might not have been putting as much effort as he wanted to in those warm-up matches, just getting his fingers loosened up. So we do have the first match going on right now.
Blink is pretty good under pressure. I mean, he has such a long history with Tetris that he's been there, done that lots and lots of times. I don't know if HaHaHa has ever participated in as high stakes tournament as this, I suppose. Uh,
Yeah, Ha
but
was a competitor in the Tetris Tournament Online 1, which took place about a year and a half ago. I actually thought that he was not, but I did receive news recently that he was a competitor, but unfortunately, due to external circumstances, he was not able to continue. But obviously, Ha now in the semifinals and having a shot at the grand finals, so Ha definitely getting the opportunity that he
looking
needs.
like a pretty good shot too.
So
He
looks
he
like
had an oh sorry.
Looks like Ha picking up the victory on the first match with a score of 64 lines sent to 22 in only 40 seconds, actually. And Ha getting on the board first with a score of 1-0.
He had a pretty nice move there where he had the sort of Z prop over the Tetris hole to make a T spin double into the Tetris, and that spiked Blink right out the window, right out the door.
Right out the window.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
All right, so we do have game two coming up between Blink and Ha. Looks like both players gonna go for a lot of back and forth action. Now, of course, if you're unfamiliar with competitive Tetris, there are a handful of things that are very efficient in competitive Tetris. Now, normally in regular Tetris, where you just try to get points, it might be more efficient to stay at as low as possible and just break a few lines at a time to just stay alive for as long as possible. But in competitive Tetris, that is absolutely not the case. As in competitive Tetris, you have an opponent, and that opponent is trying to top you out. They want you to get topped out, and they want your field to overflood. So you do have to set up a handful of different strategies to get to try to basically maximize the chances of winning. So basically the first most basic technique that these competitive players are doing is the Tetris. And Mind's Eye, do you want to go ahead and explain the Tetris for the viewers?
The Tetris is when you have four rows, one line down the side or in the middle or wherever, and you have a straight eyepiece. You drop it down, clear four at once. Easy.
Of course, that is
Wow.
what the game is named after, the Tetris. So most of the time, you'll see these players either setting up through a hybrid build that we will be going over in a little bit, where they break Tetrises in the middle, or they stack on one side or the other. And of course, the eyepiece, the long straight piece, is needed to break those four lines, and that is the only piece that can get you a Tetris. So that does put quite a bit of value on the Tetris. And again, we do have quite a bit of back and forth action going on in the game right now. Ha, again, building up for those Tetrises right there. You can see a live example right there, and that is going to send four lines of garbage to the opponent. So Mind's Eye, that brings up our next topic. Would you like to go over the topic of garbage with our viewers?
Yes. So there's two kinds of, well, every attack sends garbage, of course. The bigger the attack, the straighter the garbage. You can see some of that on Blink's screen right now, where he has almost a free Tetris, and over on HaHaHa's screen, he's got really dispersed little tiny holes. So when you send little attacks, you send less garbage to the opponent. 147 lines sent for Blink in that match. Wow.
Yeah, that is quite an impressive number, as basically a lot of the goals for just casual Tetris players is that if they send one line per second, so that's 60 attack per second, or per minute, 60 attack per second would be frightening, 60 attack per minute, then that would be considered like a milestone or basically an epic accomplishment. But if, as you saw right there, 2 minutes and 9 seconds is 129, or is that right? 129 seconds, and Blink
Yeah,
sent
that's over.
over 140 lines that round. So Blink, that basically shows how intense of a match these players are playing right now.
So the other thing about the garbage is that it changes every single attack. So you have to make a balance between sending messy garbage that's hard to get through and clean garbage that pushes them up very far.
All right, so back to the game. We do have, again, some back and forth action. Ha receiving quite a bit of a spike of garbage right there. So if you look on the right side of the player's fields, you might see red bars coming up and down to the right side of each player's field. And that means that that is incoming garbage that is pending. Now, the garbage is that solid gray grayish field, like the grayish pieces at the bottom. And when your opponent sends you garbage, you receive it in the form of those gray pieces. And you want to get down through that as quickly as possible, but also integrate that into your regular playing to try to take advantage of that as well. So the Blink actually getting topped out right there. So you did see that massive spike of red solid garbage on the pending queue, and Blink did get spiked out right there. So Ha picking up the victory right there, 60 lines sent to 83. So Blink actually sending more lines that game, but of course that does show that sending lines is not everything, as you do need to integrate some strategy and technique to your playing and time your attacks to make sure that it does top your opponent out.
Yeah, after that decisive win by Blink, this is really unfortunate to break momentum so quickly.
All right,
Looks
so
like he's just doing the normal setups and T-spins and Tetrises.
All right, so that actually brings us to our next topic, the T-spin double. So Blink is actually setting up for the T-spin double right there, and he just broke that. So that is when you basically have a T-piece or a T-shaped hole opened up, you soft drop the T-piece into it. So instead of dropping it down straight down, you'd use the down arrow to make it drop down slowly and then spin it in at the last second. And the T-spin double is actually one of the most efficient moves based off of how much setup that it requires. So T-spin doubles only break actually 2 lines, but it sends 4 lines of garbage. So that is actually a very efficient move. And right there, Blink picking up the victory via knockout. So knockouts basically means that he forced his opponent off the field, and there was nothing that the opponent could do about it. 46 lines sent to 38 in a relatively short match, 44 seconds actually. And the score now is tied up 2-2 for both players.
Yeah, okay. So the T-spin doubles are a real staple of multiplayer, and you'll see them frequently stacking them up on top of the Tetrises to get sort of a 1-2 punch there. Keep a lookout for that little cross shape right above the long pit.
So HAHA actually sending quite a bit of solid garbage right on over to Blink's side. Basically Tetrising down and T-spinning down basically everything that he had over on his field, sending it right on over to Blink's field. And Blink, making a misdrop right there, which brings us to our next topic, the misdrop. Misdrop basically can be the difference between a victory and a loss, as you saw right there. A misdrop is basically when you do have a piece and you want to place it one position, but you accidentally place it in a different position, either through putting it at the wrong place or either putting it at a false rotation, like forgetting to rotate it, and Blink actually dropping that red piece just straight flat down when he did want to rotate it first. So that is a misdrop that actually cost Blink that game, and he was no longer able to downstack through anything that he had on his field.
When you're playing at this level too, misdrops are even more critical, because by the time they have a piece and they're manipulating it to play it, they're already thinking about like 1 or 2 pieces ahead. So they expect it to go where they want it to, and it really throws them for a loop if it doesn't.
All right, so Blink, once again, dangerously close to the top of his matrix, but as we have seen for both of these players throughout the tournament, just because you're at the top of your matrix does not mean you're in danger. And of course, in a single-player mode, that might show a little bit of a sign of possibly losing, but these players are so good at downstacking. Downstacking meaning they just blast through their field from the top to the bottom, and they actually send their opponent garbage in the process. So Blink, a very good downstacker. He's actually quite well known for that. It looks like making a misdrop with that T-piece, and that is going to cost him the game right there, as Blink picks up the next victory right there with the score, tying up the score actually 3-3. So as you can see, definitely a very close game.
He called an early Bankai this time too, which is Blink's "I'm going to play hard now."
Yeah, I believe that is from
catchphrase. Bleach.
Bleach, yes.
Bleach.
So Blink actually be quite a Bleach fan right there. All right, so we have game number 7 coming up right here. Opening up with that T-spin double opener, sending quite a bit of solid garbage right on over to Blink, but Blink, of course, easily able to downstack through that. And looks like we are going to have some more back and forth action, as Ha is going to set up for the T-spin double and chain that into a Tetris, setting up for yet again another T-spin double, and Blink receiving that solid garbage and actually integrating that into his downstacking combo, sending that garbage right back on over to HAHAHA1744.
There's another advantage to the Tetrises and the T-spins as well, and it's called a back-to-back bonus. So when you clear a Tetris or a T-spin and you don't clear any other lines until your next one, you get extra garbage added in along with it. So it's very advantageous for them to try to keep from getting 1 or 2 lines at a time and to just keep doing T-spin after T-spin.
All right, so haha, going for the Tetris right there rather than the T-spin double. And of course, the Tetris and T-spin double do send the same amount of lines. So if you try to decide, or if you were in a predicament as to which one you'd want to do, you want to analyze the position of the field that you're in. Do you want to actually just send more garbage to your opponent, or do you want to get into a safer position on your own field? And right there, looks like Ha actually in a dangerous position right now, as he does have a little bit of mixed garbage right there. So of course, mixed means that it's not something that you can easily break down right away, but of course, it is not something that's going to take you a long time either. That is, of course, as opposed to something like Swiss cheese garbage or very messy garbage where the lines are literally back and forth and you have to spend quite a bit of time trying to get down through that. Blink, now the one in a poor position, did make a misdrop with that orange piece, was able to fix that up with a nice spin with that blue piece, but unfortunately still not quite enough to get himself back into the game, as Ha picking up another victory, 90 lines sent to 101, and Ha picking up the 4th victory and enforcing his victory right there with a score of 4-3.
HaHaHa was in trouble there, but Blink didn't have anything to push him with. He had to stack up for a Tetris, which takes much longer than a T-spin, and he just didn't have anything to follow it up with. So HaHaHa took all the garbage he'd sent previously and used it to attack him right back, and you could see that the field just sort of teeter-tottered all the way.
All right, haha, once again going to go for the T-spin double and Tetrises. Now, that's a very important thing that we saw right there. Ha actually, oh, not the misdrops, obviously. the haha actually paused a little bit right there because he knew that he was in a less of a good position than Blink. So Ha actually timed that to make sure that he would be able to block that incoming garbage. Now, that brings us to the next topic of the E+ mode, where the E+ mode on Tetris Friends allows you to block your opponent's garbage by breaking down garbage of your own. Now, that is basically a really important and very big portion of the strategy that people will use to counter your opponent's incoming garbage, as we saw by Haha right there. He was actually able to block a lot of that garbage, but unfortunately Blink's damage output was way too much for HaHaHa, and Blink picks up the victory right there.
There are two separate components to the... Wow, okay. Game over. There are two separate
I didn't even see what happened there.
The garbage. To the garbage blocking, and one is that it prevents you from receiving your garbage, so it stays in that little queue off to the side. And the other one is when you would send an attack, it will take away from it. So you see sometimes players, when they're in trouble, might wait to take a big line clear so that they don't actually receive that garbage, and they'll try to combo a lot on their way down, and we'll talk about combos in a bit.
Of course, some people are saying in the chat that this might be lagging. If it is lagging, then go ahead and reduce the quality of the stream. I believe this is being streamed in 720p HD. So if your internet connection is not good enough to handle that, you can go ahead and lower that to a lower quality, like 480p or 360p. Now, let's go ahead and get right back into the game. We do have Blink. Looks like he's getting pushed towards the middle of his matrix right there, but it looks like he will be able to downstack through that. He does have the back-to-back Tetris setup right there. Actually, I believe the last one was actually a triple, so only 3 lines broken right there. But, of course, Ha able to block pretty much all of that garbage and downstacking through everything on his field right there, sending a massive spike on over to Blink. But, of course, Blink's excellent downstacking skills, not enough, or plenty, and actually Ha's damage output not enough to top out Blink, as Blink able to get back into a safer position.
Well, he sort of made a mess. He made another spot over to the left that would require an eyepiece when he already needed Tetrises to downstack, but he got through it easy enough. And as a result of that moment where he had to just sort of get a little clears, you see there's a lot messier garbage over on HaHa's screen, and he followed it up with a spike that pushed him out. So he took that one 68 lines to 80, showing that he really made use of what he had a lot better than HaHaHa did that game.
Score is now tied up at 5-5. Both players tied up, and of course, again, showing how close these matches are. When one player gets ahead, the other player easily catches up. When the other player gets ahead, the other player easily catches up and consistently ties up the score. So again, this is a very close match. We do have Blink and HaHaHa. Both players receiving a little bit of solid garbage on each other's side. So as we've seen consistently throughout the match, if both players go for Tetrises and T-spin doubles, both players are actually good enough that they are able to downstack through a lot of that solid garbage. So they do need to use some sort of technique. What was HaHa doing there? He was actually pausing with that O piece. Not quite sure what that was, but it looks like he is back in action. And I just completely lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
I lost it too.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
I took that one anyway with the O spike, I guess.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he actually paused a little bit right there with that O piece and just let it soft drop for like 5 seconds, and 5 seconds might
Might
not
have
seem like a
predicted
lot, but
maybe.
in this competitive level play, 5 seconds is a long time. And somehow HaHa still actually building up with that O piece and just down stacking through everything and spiking out Blink right there for that victory. And now Ha is once again in the lead with a score of 6-5.
These players can play extremely fast, so 5 seconds could be like 15 pieces. That's a T-spin and a Tetris that can fill up half your field right there.
Someone in the shout box or the stream chat saying that Blink is stream cheating and seeing what Haha is doing. That's funny. Um,
After
uh,
the fact.
of course, I'm assuming that that was a joke, but for those of you unfamiliar with competitive Tetris, you can actually see your opponent's field in the game itself. So that actually is a very important part of competitors' strategies. Now, a lot of beginners players, they just focus on their own stuff. They just try to downstack and build up. But for these high-level players, watching your opponent's field means pretty much that's one of the top most important things that you should do, because that shows you what opportunities you have to win and what opportunities you have to downstack and get on a safer position. So it basically acts as an alert for when you want to get on a safer position and when you want to go on the offense.
They'll be watching their opponent's field, they'll be watching their next pieces and their own, and there's so many things to concentrate on, and yet they still do it with like 3 pieces a second or whatever it is on Tetris Friends. It's pretty incredible.
All right, so once
I
again, we
still
do
haven't
have the back and forth matchup going on. Haha, going for the T-spin double right there. Okay, now I actually remember what I was saying earlier, because now I thought of it again. So as we saw, both these players are really good at downstacking. So if they want to get a victory, they either have to do something really surprising, or they have to use some sort of integrated technique, or they just have to wait for their opponent to make a misdrop or some sort of mistake and take advantage of it. So right there, Ha did make the misdrop with that blue piece, and you did see Blink immediately downstacking through pretty much everything that he had. And that actually worked out very well for him, as Blink did pick up the victory right there and is now shortening Haha's lead with a score of 7-6. Now, keeping an eye on your opponent's field and taking advantage of those opportunities is what is giving these people, these competitors, the victories that they need, and helping them get ahead in the score.
HaHaHa only sent 23 lines that last match, so he was either defending a lot or in a really bad position. One of the things about Tetris Friends is that the lines sent don't count when you are canceling garbage. So when they're doing a lot of defending, that number isn't going up when they're canceling stuff out of their queue. And HaHaHa is up at the top again with slim options, but he looks like he could probably make it.
All right, so breaking down that solid garbage and integrating that with the downstacking and going to go for those Tetrises. Oh, making two consecutive misdrops with those eye pieces. Of course, he's able to fix that up, but at what cost? Of course, if you do make a misdrop and you fix it up, you are back in a safe position. But meanwhile, while you were fixing up those misdrops, your opponent was building up for some more damage output. And HaHaHa still struggling at the top of his matrix right there. Going to try to avoid blocking his garbage hole right there, which is a good thing. And of course, if you block your garbage hole, that basically means that you take a spot where you do need to downstack and you just cover it up, and that is not something that you want to do at this high of a level when these competitors can look and realize that you blocked your garbage hole and just spike you out right on the spot.
I think those O's were intentional. At least one of them. He did it so fast, and O's have a great property that they're easy to platform, you know? They don't leave anything weird behind. And HaHaHa, they're getting all the way down to the bottom of his field only to get sent back up again. Losing this one 82 lines to 60. It's tied up at 7-7 now.
All right, so once again, tying up the score, and of course, a very close match that we have right here.
No kidding.
All right, so we do have game number 15 coming up, and of course, if you're unfamiliar with the tournament setup, this is the first of 15 victories win by 2. So at this, basically at the rate that we're going right now, we might actually have quite a bit more than 15 games, as you do need to get 2 games off of your opponent in a row to get the victory right there, and go proceed on to the next round. So we do have Blink in a little bit of trouble at the top of his matrix right there, but of course he does have that down stacking, and he will be able to get down through that solid garbage and send that right back on over to HaHaHa. Now in the process of down stacking, Blink did send quite a bit of Swiss cheese garbage over to HAHA's field. As you can see, he did actually break down through some of that garbage, but a lot of that was just back and forth messy garbage. And that's not something you can just break down immediately just by dropping one piece into it, and you do need to spend a little bit of time trying to get that down. Meanwhile, Blink over on his side having a little bit of self-made garbage, actually making some holes in his matrix by himself, but it looks like he will be able to downstack through that, receiving a spike of garbage, but it looks like he will be able to hang in there for a little bit longer.
And he's got a whole bunch of Swiss cheese garbage up at the top there, to use your term. Blink does, I mean. But one of the things that Blink is really good at is keeping eyes in hold. You know, he just always seems to have one at the right time. And to talk a little bit more about the timing we mentioned earlier, you can see that when he was in such a disadvantageous position to downstack, he would time his line clears to cancel out the attacks from HAHAHA. So at the same time as he was getting rid of the mess, he was also preventing HAHAHA from spiking him out.
All right, so we do have HAHAHA having quite a bit of solid garbage over on his side, but it looks like he will be able to get down through that. And of course, microing that TP is making sure not to block his garbage hole. As if he did block that garbage hole, he would not be able to combo down with those Tetrises. So that is some good micro there with HAHAHA. Meanwhile, Blink getting dangerously close to topping out. He does have that eyepiece on hold, and he is able to use that to downstack, and that basically saved Blink's life right there. And of course, that brings us to our next topic, the hold piece. So if you're more familiar with classic Tetris rather than competitive Tetris, you might not be familiar with that hold piece. And of course, the hold piece means that you can save a piece for later use, and that is a very useful thing to do for those eye pieces and those T pieces when you want to chain some Tetrises and those T spins. Now we are past 2 minutes into the game, and we do have that hurry up garbage coming up, and I believe this is we haven't seen the hurry up garbage a lot throughout this match, but we do have that coming up, and actually Blink picking up the victory right there. The hurry up garbage is that solid dark gray garbage coming up from the bottom. That basically prevents any matches from exceeding much more than 3 minutes, so it keeps them as short as possible, and of course like in 3-minute intervals as possible. And you can't break down this hurry up garbage, so that basically means that if you stack up too high, you are going to passively top out, and you are going to passively lose the game because of that garbage coming up little by little, regardless of if your opponent sends you any garbage or not. So that does basically bring in a huge different strategy about basically efficiency and how these players go on to proceed to play after the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, they really want to keep low to the ground because they, in addition to the pressure coming from their opponent, there's also the hurry-up garbage pushing them close to the top. But if they get too low, they don't have anything to attack with or defend with, and they can be vulnerable to a spike. And the higher they get up with the hurry-up garbage, the easier that is.
All right, so it looks like Ha having a little bit of mixed garbage over in his field. He does have that solid line of garbage in the middle of his field, but he does have that Swiss cheese garbage as well. And of course, Ha taking advantage of that Swiss cheese garbage, setting up for a T-spin double right on top of it to make it basically the best use of what he has on his field. And now Ha in a great position at the bottom of his field. Looks like he's going to stack up for some Tetrises to get on the offense onto Blink. Meanwhile, Blink on the same page as well, as Blink is now at the bottom of his matrix. Looks like he's also going to stack up for some high APM moves right there. He's going to actually downstack first, and looks like that he is going to set up for the T-spin double right there and chain that into some Tetrises to try to spike out HAHAHA as well.
Blink, because of his experience with some other Tetris games, is also really good at downstacking through that messy garbage. If you saw there just a moment ago, he had like 4 or 5 lines of it, and he comboed through the whole thing. And in fact, we were going to talk about combos, but this game looks like it's about to be over, so yeah.
Yep, the game is now over. Blink picking up the victory right there, 113 line sends to 58. And Blink, I believe the score is now 9-7. So I think this is actually the first time that Blink has been ahead by 2 games in this entire set. That match is 1 minute and 32 seconds. And looks like Blink picking up the momentum here as he proceeds to try to beat HAHAHA for the grand finals.
Yeah, a year ago I would have said that nobody could really touch Blink or HAHAHA, but there's a lot more players doing a lot better this year, and it's really been fun to watch. Combos I mentioned is when you clear multiple lines in a row. Yeah.
I think the game just does not want us to talk about combos.
Talk about anything.
As every time we bring that up, Blink picks up the victory right there. Again, the score is 10-7 in Blink's favor. And Virulent, surprised with that very short match, doing the at face. And looks like Blink picking up the momentum, carrying this on, and let's see if he can continue this winning streak.
Maybe we got to follow the game for a bit more closely, I mean.
All right, so let's actually finally get back to the combos. A combo works out every time you break at least one line with every single piece that you drop down. That garbage gets added up. So once you reach like a particular number of combos, you get bonus garbage for every single piece that you drop down. So for example, if you making a terrible misdrop with that eye piece. It looks like he will be able to fix that up with some nice platforming and skimming right there. But it looks like Blink meanwhile sending a ton of garbage over to Ha's side. Ha now trying to hang in there as long as possible, and that O piece is not going to help him out at all, as Blink does pick up the victory once again. The score 42 lines sent to 26. Victory via knockout in 36 seconds. And the score is now, I believe, 11-7 in Blink's favor.
Yeah, combos were really vital there, actually. HAHAHA just didn't get the right pieces, but he survived for a very long time by preventing the garbage from coming in, because every time he dropped a piece, he cleared a line. So the only time you receive garbage is when you drop a piece and it doesn't clear a line. And in addition to the bonus garbage, you also have a big advantage from that in being able to defend, to clear out large attacks from opponents by multiple small clears, as well as getting your matrix in general lower and neater.
Now, of course, Blink, I'm not quite sure if you guys caught that or not, but Blink actually did open up with an air T-spin double. Now, of course, the air T-spin double is when you set up a T-spin double and there's actually a space under it. So it's not something that you can as easily see as a regular conventional T-spin double. But Blink actually is pretty much excellent at T-spin awareness and just seeing where T-spins can be made and just taking advantage of that immediately and just taking that to his advantage. And of course, Blink, in previous streams that you might have seen Blink use his arrow T-spin double technique, where it seems like he makes a misdrop with a red piece or a green piece and he just sticks it in the middle of nowhere, then all of a sudden he just turns that into a T-spin double. So Blink, very good with T-spin doubles right there, and again showing that right there. I believe he misdropped a T-spin double as an opener,
and made it into another one.
he just turned it right into a T-spin double, saying, hey, that T-spin double didn't work out, I'm going to do another one with this misdrop that I made.
Yeah, Blink has always been pretty strong with the T-spins since I've seen him play ever, really. He just churns them out one after another, and really it was almost unstoppable for a good while until the whole timing aspect got a lot more play, and that enabled players to survive his massive spikes.
So now Blink having a lot of solid garbage over on his side, and this could be very dangerous to HAHA, but of course, as I say that, Blink making a misdrop, basically canceling that down stacking combo that he could have had, and unfortunately for Blink, not able to spike out HAHA right there, and HAHA setting up for the T-spin doubles and chaining that into a little bit of a combo. Of course, Blink able to block a lot of that garbage, and of course, it is a good thing to block combo garbage, as combo garbage sends a lot of messy back and forth garbage, and Blink making sure to time that T-spin double as well as possible to block as much of that solid or that Swiss cheese garbage as possible, to keep himself in a more efficient playing state.
HAHA looks like he just got unlucky there. He had the pieces to downstack, but he got it at just the wrong time, losing that one. 72 lines from Blink to 81 from HAHA, and Blink pulls away to 12-8, expanding his lead. It looks like he's on the home stretch here. You think HAHA is going to be able to catch him up?
I think HAHA is going to get a few more games right here, but once Blink gets started, he basically gets really excited, and Blink's emotions tend to affect him a little bit, as I've noticed in the past, as if he gets happy, like not necessarily in the negative way, where he might not be suffering from negative emotions, but when he's happy, he builds off that excitement, that thrill of winning, and Blink just keeps on going on. And as we can see, Blink has that upper hand right now. He's ahead 12-8, and that is the largest lead that we have seen so far in this set. So Blink right now is feeling great, and he's building off that excitement and going to go ahead and try to basically sweep HAHA at the point that he is right now.
And HAHA looks like he might be getting a little nervous. He's making some worse misdrops than before, but it looks like he's going to be able to get through that if he has the right piece, which he does, and he's still got quite a road ahead of him, and Blink is helping out with some misdrops of his own.
All right, so HAHA, right there, looks like at the top of his matrix, it was going to set up for the T-spin double right there, but instead chose to downstack through. And again, that is the decision-making of these players, literally split-second decisions. They have like 0.2 seconds to make a decision as to what they want to do, because if they take any longer, they're going to be at a disadvantage because they're not going to place their pieces fast enough. So Blink actually receiving quite a bit of solid garbage over on his side, but looks like he will be able to block a lot of that, actually. That actually might have been a questionable choice, as HAHA was not necessarily really in that great of a situation, and Blink, if he had taken that solid garbage, he might have been able to downstack through all of that. But it looks like Blink, unfortunately for him, HAHA being able to opportunize on Blink's poor positioning at the top of his matrix, and HAHA picking up the victory via knockout, 100 line sends to 79, and HAHA once again taking a game off of Blink and shortening Blink's lead to a score of 12-9.
Yeah, one of the characteristics of that clean, long, straight garbage is that if you want to and you're in a good position, you can avoid canceling it, and it gives you more to work with. You know, there are blocks you don't have to create in order to clear lines, and it can be used more efficiently than just stacking on your own. So Blink got all the way down to the bottom of his field there and had nothing to work with, and as a result, his attack suffered. And HAHA took all the garbage that he had received and managed to get through it all real quick and just top Blink out before he could do anything.
All right, so HAHA once again setting up for that T-spin double and chaining that into a Tetris, sending a little bit of garbage over to Blink, but Blink actually blocking all but one line on that garbage. Meanwhile, HAHA stacking up some more for those Tetrises, back-to-back Tetris right there, sending 4 and 5 lines to Blink's field, but Blink able to block a little bit of that garbage, and making a misdrop with that orange piece. He's going to need an eye piece or an orange piece to fix that up, and yes, he does use that orange piece, and of course, that also does a chain misdrop. So sometimes, if you go ahead and try to fix up a misdrop, you might actually create a bigger issue for yourself later on in the match, as we saw Blink right there. But it looks like he will be able to fix up both issues fairly quickly right there. And again, we do have some more back and forth action with HAHA sending a lot of solid garbage over to Blink, and Blink down stacking, setting up for the T-spin double, and going to chain that again into yet again another T-spin double.
That orange piece was actually a really smart move from Blink. He had the eye and hold, and he could have used it down the right side, and it would have been a more natural fit, but it wouldn't have allowed him to clear out the Tetris that he had on the left. The L did allow him to clear out the Tetris, and he had the eye and hold to do it, and managed to get back on safe ground, which eventually helped him win this match. 91 to 81 lines sent. It is now 13-9 in Blink's favor. He's got 2 more before he wins this one and goes on to face HAHA for the finals.
All right, well, I'm going through a few chat messages that I received and taking care of a little bit of stuff, so mine's that you can take over for a little while.
Virulent's telling me that we've got some stats for these players too. Blink has a sprint time on Tetris Friends of 30 seconds, and HAHA has 33. So both of those are very good sprint times, meaning that they're both very fast players, Blink being slightly the faster of the two of them. However, as we've seen in this game so far, speed isn't the only thing, and we've seen people send more lines and still lose, so your strategy can play a lot more into it. And some really bad misdrops from Blink there. He wasn't able to recover. Loses that one 46 to 24 lines sent, bringing the score to 13-10. HAHA's closing in. He's going to want to get 3 more to get sort of into the safe zone. As long as he keeps tied with Blink, he can force the thing into the win by 2 range and keep trying to get to break away and get the win himself. But he's not going to do it if he starts out like that. He's starting out with a pretty bad misdrop, and he's having trouble clearing through it. Blink, of course, has to stack all his attacks. He has no garbage to work with, and he's going for it pretty quickly, but he's only stacking up Tetrises, which take longer than they send. But, they take longer to set up than the attack that they send. He wasn't quite able to push HAHA all the way out, and HAHA gets all the way back down. And now the tables are turned, and maybe not even looking good for Blink here.
All right, so I am back. Looks like Blink being pushed towards the top of his matrix. Oh, he does have that incoming garbage spike, but looks like Blink actually able to micro his eyepiece right there and is able to hang in there for a little bit longer, but HAHA really needs to send the garbage as soon as possible. There was that spike, and again, taking advantage of opportunities right there. HAHA picking up the victory, 40 lines sent to 29, and the score is now actually 13-11, so HAHA once again trying to catch up as quickly as possible.
There's so many little things these players do that are impressive, that are really hard to just know about. Like right there, Blink, when he was on the back foot, he was trying to downstack combo, and when he received lines, he would downstack through those lines and sending a perfect clear right there, which is going to probably lead to him getting a lot of clean garbage back, and he's going to expect that and be prepared to get into it. But anyway, when he wasn't receiving attacks from HaHa, Blink was stacking pieces to make it so that he could have a longer combo and survive for more time. Instead of just, trying to clear lines, he was specifically trying to shape everything so that he could get through it more defensively.
All right, so Minds, I didn't mention the perfect clear, so I believe this is a good time to go over the perfect clear and how it basically plays a role in this game. So perfect clear is when you go ahead and clear every single piece off of your field. Now, of course, you do have a perfect clear at the start, but that's not necessarily a clear as you didn't put any pieces down. But there are some techniques where you can drop the perfect number of pieces in the perfect positioning and send a massive spike of garbage over to your opponent. Now, perfect clears are actually a very efficient tool to use in beginner level play, like in the bronze or silver games, where basically if you send that much garbage all at once, people are just not expecting it, and they are basically don't have anything set up to block any of that garbage, and they just get topped out on the spot. But meanwhile, in this high level of a play, the perfect clear is essentially a double-edged sword. It can be either very helpful or very dangerous. The perfect clear can either help you get a free win, basically, or it can help you basically fuel your opponent's ammo and help them top you out. And of course, this perfect clear sends a lot of solid garbage over to your opponent's field. And solid garbage is extremely easy to downstack through, as if you have a handful of eye pieces, you can just drop them right in, and all that garbage goes straight back to your opponent. So that basically is giving your opponent ammunition to knock you out. So perfect clear is, again, a very situational move to use in high-level competitive play. As we saw, I actually was not paying attention and did not see that perfect clear, so I did not see the circumstances surrounding the perfect clear, but again, a very dangerous move to pull off in this high level of competitive play.
I've been seeing Blink do that more than once in his competitive matches, and I think he's just doing it to mix things up a little bit and make his opponent uncertain. It can be very dangerous, because you give them all that ammo to send back at you, but if you're expecting it, you can sort of prepare for it. HaHa took one more match. It's 14-12 in Blink's favor now. This may well go into the win by 2 range.
All right, so the score is 14-12. I don't know if you just said this or not because I was responding to someone, but this is win by 2, so this is actually game point for Blink. So Blink can actually win this game and win the semifinals right now. Meanwhile, HaHa needs to win, what is this? He needs to get up to 16 victories.
More.
So he needs 4 more victories in a row to be able to win this set in general.
Ooh. Blink making a series of misdrops there, and he's not going to survive. He got a little eager, I think. 14-13. If HaHa gets one more, Blink will not win with his next win. But if he gets it now, then he'll take the match.
All right, so did we go over their sprint times yet?
I mentioned it, yeah. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Blink is 30 seconds. HaHa was like 33. And those are really impressive times on Tetris Friends, which actually has a bit of delays here and there, like it takes a little bit of time after you clear a line, or it takes a little bit of time to get pieces around. So while the very fastest records in the world are quite a bit faster than that, those are especially good on this particular game.
Of course, the specific times for these competitors are 30.04 seconds for Blink. So Blink actually very close to getting under 30 seconds, which is quite a milestone. And HaHa 33.85 seconds. So these two players extremely fast. But of course, as we have seen, speed is not everything. They do need to integrate some strategy, some technique into their playing style, some timing, and basically taking into consideration everything as a big picture in order to win. Now, HaHa actually doing a nice flat stack with that eyepiece. So that eyepiece could actually be really useful for downstacking Tetrises, but also can create a little bit of an awkward field style, as if you stick it straight up, then that's basically going to interfere with everything else, and you just have this little antenna-like structure in the middle of your field. So Ha actually laying that flat and clearing a single with that to try to keep his field as clean as possible. And now
Also, go ahead.
HaHa actually picking up the victory right there, so looks like we are going to go into a win by 2 situation, and the score is now 14-13.
14-14.
14-14, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So we should have probably said what sprint is.
Yeah.
The challenge, the goal for sprint is to clear 40 lines in the fastest amount of time. So that's 100 pieces that they stacked in 30 seconds and cleared lines with, obviously, which is quite a lot.
All right, so we
I
do.
math fail. I don't know how many pieces per second that is, but it's a lot.
So we do have both players once again going to go for some back and forth action with those T-spin doubles and Tetrises. Of course, both of these players loving to use those T-spin doubles. That is extremely efficient. Meanwhile, HAHAHA getting pushed towards the top of his matrix. But of course, as we have seen repeatedly, that means absolutely nothing. As we just saw right there, HAHAHA cleaning down basically everything on his field in a matter of mere seconds. Meanwhile, Blink stacking up for some Tetrises over on his side, and looks like he's going to stack up for a T-spin mini, actually, or a T-spin zero, I believe, right there. Of course, T-spin zeros meaning you clear 0 lines with that T-spin. Basically useful for building up your T-spin back-to-back. So if you send more than one T-spin double or one T-spin in a row, then that actually gives you bonus lines. So Blink might actually have been trying to go for that, but it looks like he did not take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Blink's still down stacking while HAHAHA setting up for a nice spin right there. Going to chain that into a huge spike. And HAHAHA picking up the victory basically out of nowhere. I thought Blink was actually in a very safe position, but HAHAHA picking up the victory. 97 lines sent in a minute and 16 seconds. Victory via knockout. And HAHAHA actually turning the tables now with a score of 15-14 in HAHAHA's favor.
Nicely done. The previous game before that, it was really a down stack combo that won him the game. He took a little bit of time to make sure he kept clearing lines, and it really worked out for him. This last one, it wasn't so much the combo as it was just the lines he cleared through. But both games ended the same way, basically sudden spike from HAHAHA because of what he had on his screen and getting through it really quickly. And that's obviously a very desirable situation because not only does it make your field better, it makes your opponents worse.
All right, so we again are in a win by 2 situation. The score is 14-15 in HAHAHA's favor, and of course HAHA is the one to the right of the screen. If HAHA picks up the victory right here, he will move on to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Blink needs to win 2 games in a row to pick up the victory on HAHAHA. Now, Blink staying at a relatively safe position right there. Going to set up for the T-spin double, chain that into a Tetris. Unfortunately for Blink, HAHA was at the top of his matrix, but looks like he will be able to downstack through and send a lot of that solid garbage right back on over to Blink. Blink once again setting up for the T-spin double, but still receiving a lot of solid lines of garbage over on his field. He does have those eyepieces handy, so he will be able to downstack through this, setting up for the T-spin single and chaining that with some more Tetrises. Getting dangerously close to topping out, but it looks like he will have that eyepiece set up for the T-spin double and try to get in a better and safer position.
Yeah, really making use of defensive timing there to keep in the game. But it's still coming back to him. He hasn't quite made it to safe ground yet. HAHAHA is still able to just keep pressuring as much as he can, pretty much without any worries. I mean, Blink can send him lines and he won't care. He'll just keep attacking.
So again, this is the issue of either being on the offense or being on the defense. Being on the defense actually is a very unfavorable position to be in as opposed to being on the offense. As if you're defending, you just want to downstack as much as possible. Oh, HAHA, pick up the victory right there. And that is game. HAHAHA winning with a score of 16-14. Blink is the 3rd place winner for the Tetris Tournament Online 2, and HAHAHA will be going on for the grand finals. That it's actually coming up in a little bit right there to face HAHAHA to face him for the championship title. HAHAHA is the current reigning champion from last year from Tetris Tournament Online 1, and HAHAHA now going to challenge that position to try to take that title away from HAHAHA.